Friends, Greg, Newmaster, coming at you again with another action figure review. Today I have Masters of the Universe 40th Anniversary He-Man versus Skeletor, and I'm pumped for this figure. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and help me build my channel. Trying to get to 1,000, getting close, so I'm very excited. But anyhow, this figure is incredible. A couple words on the Masterverse line. I have to say that, and I know people have different feelings and opinions about this, but I love the Masterverse line. I love it because I'm a man who loves articulation. There's so many different points of articulation on these figures, and they just look great. And they have double jointed knees, double jointed elbows, everything you could want in a figure. So there's people who like the classic He-Man figures where they only had a few points of articulation. They were the 5-inch scale. Their arms moved up and down. Their legs were held together by a wire. Their head could move left and right, and that's about it. See, when I was a kid growing up with the action figures like the Superpowers collection, the original Secret Wars Marvel figures, they never had enough articulation for me. I always wanted more because you would watch it in the animation and you could see how dynamic and dexterous and flexible the characters were. Particularly, I remember Batman the Animated Series. Batman was like a ninja in that show, and he moved so fluid and flexible. It was amazing, and I wanted my figures to do the same. And this goes all the way back to Masters of the Universe, where there was minimal articulation. Same with Thundercats. G.I. Joe, they did it right back then. They were the most articulated figures, I would say, in the 80s. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but you know, so to have a figure like these Masterverse figures where we have all these points of articulation in the knees and the ankles and the wrists and the head and the torso, they came close with the Masters of the Universe Classics line, but it still wasn't perfect in my opinion because it was still missing those double jointed knees and elbows, and now we finally have that. And I'm just excited to get this figure. And when I saw that the San Diego Comic-Con was releasing this exclusive, like, I had to get it. Just had to get it. So I got mine on Mattel Creations as soon as it launched. Like, the minute it launched, it sold out almost immediately. So I was really lucky to be able to get it on there online. So let's take a look at this baby. I mean, I already love this slipcover. You just have the dynamic image of the 40th anniversary. There's He-Man holding the power sword saying, I have the power. It looks great. And then here's the slipcover on the top. There it is on the side. And this thing's so big that I have to pan out here. Also, check out like the back, and doesn't that take you back to the toys of the 80s and just how the boxes looked? And they had these nice renderings on the back. There's He-Man, most powerful man in the universe. It says he's 7¼ inches tall. You get the ring of absolute power, artifact of invincibility, Skeletor, evil lord of destruction, and then it says Masters of the Universe in that nice looking sort of Renaissance fair font. So it's great. And there is the He-Man side of the box with the power sword looking wonderful. And I mean, I'm normally not the kind of guy who geeks out over the packaging, but this packaging is incredible. So I already cut the tape on the side so I can pull it out of the slipcover. And my friends, if you're like looking at this and you're holding it, this thing is heavy. Like, this thing is weighty. This is incredible packaging. Look at that. You have this nice, I would assume it's the Grayskull crest shield on the front. Correct me if I'm wrong. There it is on the back. You get the 40th anniversary logo again. That's the bottom and the top. It's basically designed like a wonderful treasure chest. And I'm just going to pull the window open like so. And look at that. So they put these plastic protector thingies in there, so you don't really need those. And I mean, just the packaging is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. This is truly a collector's item. So it says, the mightiest battle in the universe. For 40 years, the almighty He-Man and the evil sorcerer Skeletor have been locked in an epic battle for the power of Grayskull to determine who truly is the master of the universe. Just great, great. Like, this is like beautiful and heavy. And if you've ever gotten anything from San Diego Comic-Con, any of these collectors things, they always have really beautiful packaging. And this is just supposed to slip down and pull off nice and easily. That's what it looks like on the inside. I'm going to carefully place this behind me so to not damage it. And let's get a look at He-Man and Skeletor. And another great selling point of these figures is the die-cast weapons, which I think adds to the weight of the packaging. We have actual metal weapons, which is awesome. I just love this. So normally the power swords are plastic, which is great because they're toys, and you know that's what's to be expected. And you get these little mini comics just like the olden days. Oh, and yeah, I think these are like the original mini comics. Ah, look at that gorgeous artwork. Man, I can't wait to look at these and read these. Yeah, and you can see Teela. This is Teela with the blonde hair. Oh, that's amazing. So you get this nice mini comic. You get two of them, it looks like. Just want to be very careful not to damage them. And, oh yeah. So that's wonderful. Wow, this is great. So you get the two mini comics, which is fantastic. There's the back, there's the front. That's the top one. I'm going to put back in this nice red foam. This is the bottom one. Make sure you get a good look at that. And so you get the nice mini comics to go with your collection, which is great. And let's take a look at the man himself first. We're going to bust He-Man out here. And he does have the little plastic ties on him. So I'm going to pull that out. So the funny thing is when they said they were going to release this 40th anniversary He-Man, it was just a single packed He-Man. And, you know, everybody criticized it because they put this really, it was kind of a really bad looking wash on him. And it was only him. And then San Diego Comic-Con just released the exclusive one where you got He-Man and Skeletor. So that was really exciting. But this one is different than the single He-Man in terms of paint. And I think the single version of He-Man, the weapons are not die-cast. So if you get the He-Man versus Skeletor version, you get the die-cast weapons, where you would not if you just got the single Masters of the Universe He-Man Anniversary Edition. So, he looks great. I mean, he feels good. So a big critique of the original the first Masterverse He-Man figure to come out. Oh, so that's real tight there, that ankle joint. I want to be very careful not to snap anything. So a critique of the figures so far of the Masterverse line, which I really liked, by the way. I really, really enjoyed those figures, is the chest. So here's He-Man from Masterverse, and here is a comparison of the chest. So 40th anniversary He-Man, roided out, huge Arnold Schwarzenegger chest. This is the Masterverse Revelation He-Man animated version, much smaller back and chest area. So people weren't a big fan of that because traditionally He-Man has a giant jack chest. And they definitely fixed that on this He-Man. And his chest harness is a nice metallic, which looks a little bit different than the singular version that does not come with Skeletor. We got the beautiful loincloth that has the furry matted texture that you would see on Panther in the past. So his loincloth and his barbarian boots have that nice furry texturing to them. We get the big giant redesign of the chest. So my head is actually loose on my He-Man. It's real loose. Not too loose to where it's a giant problem, but it is surprisingly loose. So let's go through some of the articulation. Shoulders go up that high. Just like, look at that chest, man. That guy is getting a full chest workout. You know, bench press, incline, decline, flies. I mean, he's doing it all. So this is truly a jacked He-Man. We get the double jointed elbows. Even though they're double jointed, though, it doesn't seem to go much more than 90 degrees. Even though I can bend this joint. The bracer sort of inhibits the bend a little bit, but he has this nice bracer. It's painted with a nice shiny gloss, so it looks really nice. So this is an improvement. We get the vertical hinge on the wrist instead of the horizontal. So see how it's vertical on the wrist? Where normally they put the hinge here, and you can only go like this with the wrist. But when we get the vertical hinge there, if you want to call it vertical, it just depends on how you position the hand, but I like to call it vertical versus horizontal. So you get the nice weapon holding hand, and that way, when he holds the power sword, he can actually point it up to the sky instead of holding it in a weird horizontal way. So I'm so happy that they improved that. So for example, on his left hand, he has the horizontal hinge, and this would be his shield holding hand, even though He-Man doesn't really ever use a shield. He only just uses the power sword and the might of Grayskull. So let's see, back to the articulation. Leg goes up that high. His furry loincloth sort of inhibits, prevents his legs a little bit. So that's something that could be problematic for some of you. He can almost do a full straddle. We got the double jointed knee joints, which I love. There is articulation here in the calf, but you don't really need it. We got the hinge on the ankle, and we can pivot as well, which is great, which I love, which the original Masters of the Universe Classics He-Man did not have, even though it is one of the most coveted He-Man figures. What else? There is some shading on the skin. You can see it in the skin tones a little bit. It's not as dramatic as that wash was that we saw on the prototype images. So if you can look at that and take his harness off, you can see just nice subtle shading. So they really cleaned that up. There's like nice shading in the hair. The face looks really good. Not quite. I would say the face of the Masters of the Universe Classics He-Man looks a little bit better. Just a lot more detail. So this is a better looking face. That's reminiscent of the original He-Man figure. This looks more like a toy head on this He-Man. So I'd actually probably swap the two out and see. I'm just curious to see what it looks like, if I can put this head on there or not. Yeah, it looks like the ball joint's just a little bit too small. I could probably force it on there, but I don't want to break it. But yeah, that's a better looking head in my opinion, but that's okay. This head looks really good too. It's very reminiscent of classic He-Man. So just a beautiful, beautiful figure, especially if you're a He-Man fan. So let's bring out, articulation wise, the torso also has articulation, and we have full waist rotation, and he just looks great. Bracers, I don't think I missed anything. There's a nice little compartment on the back to house the sword, sheathe the sword, and let's bust this baby out, because this is the most important thing as well, is the Sword of Power. I mean, you can't have He-Man without the Sword of Power, or the Power Sword, whatever you want to call it. It's up to you. But, oh, you hear that? Just, that is metal. Straight metal. This thing is thick. It is heavy. It is not bendable. Man, that looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I would say my only complaint is I don't like this classic comic book design. I like the more traditional Power Sword design where the hilt connects to the blade itself. But other than that, this is amazing. This thing is just straight up metal. So here's a comparison with the Masters of the Universe Classics He-Man Power Sword. In that, I like the thickness of the Classics Power Sword. And this one's longer. This one's fatter, though, and the hilt connects. I just think when the hilt or the crossbar connects to the blade, that is more traditionally what the Power Sword is supposed to look like. But this is awesome also. So it's amazing. It's amazing that it's metal. And I'm going to put this in his hand. And hopefully it's not too heavy. And yeah, just position it up in the air and have him call down the power of Grayskull. Yeah, so it's a heavy sword. It's so heavy that it makes him a little bit difficult to balance. But man, that is awesome. That is so awesome. What a beautiful figure. Absolutely beautiful. Very impressive. And just so you can get a comparison, this is the Ultimates Masters of the Universe Classics He-Man. And this is the 40th anniversary. But like I said, the Power Sword is a bit heavy, so it is difficult to balance. So I can understand why they would want to make it die cast or metal previously. So as he just falls over. So just be careful with that, because you don't want to bust him. What else do we got here? We have his axe. The battle axe. Let's see what that is like. And that is, jeez. That is just nice and metal and heavy. Very well sculpted, beautiful, just nice die cast battle axe. And put that in his hand as well. And that looks great. Looks like I'm going to have to heat up my He-Man in the sink because his leg is a little bit twisted and contorted. Sort of, his knee bends in a little bit. What else do we got? We got the shield, which, oh, okay. Wow, look at that. So it's screwed in on the inside, bolted in. There's like a nice long strap, and then there's a handle for him to hold. This thing is just solid. This is amazing, guys. This is one of the best He-Mans I've ever seen. I just can't believe they went to this length. And you can also put the axe in the back like so. And we can put the shield in. And it's a little bit difficult to get. See if I can put it on like so. It'll be just easier to take the hand off and then get him to hold it like that. Okay, so I put the hand on like so. And just going to put that in. And if I can port that in there without busting it. And there we go. He-Man is rocking and rolling, ready to go. The axe is so heavy that it pulled the harness apart as I'm putting it there. So that may be a problem. You could use some stickums on there, or if you even wanted to get dramatic, you could probably glue it. But wow, let's just get him in a nice pose. There we go. his joints are real tight, so just be careful because you don't want to snap anything. And I just love that. You can finally get the sword held high above his head, calling down the powers of Grayskull. Just looks beautiful. Where, for instance, with this He-Man, he has to hold it sideways like so. He can't point it straight up in the air. So, just for comparison. And then we have Ultimate He-Man, Masters of the Universe Super 7. So, Masters of the Universe Classics. So, just get a good look at those 3 He-Man. Just awesome. Beautiful, beautiful figures. And I don't mind that He-Man's big. I like my He-Man figures a little bit bigger. So, that's nice. So, what else do we have here? We have a couple of hands as well. So you get an additional set of hands. So we get a flat hand for his left side. And that has the horizontal hinge on it. So you get an open hand. And then I think they give us a... Oh, that's kind of wasteful. They give us a fisted hand. Yeah. So you get a fisted hand for the right. So I don't know. You have another set of hands if you want them, but I don't. I like it just like this. All right, so that's He-Man, and let us pull out Skeletor and get a good look at him, because he was the bonus, and he is also snapped in there as well. So I'm going to pull off these ties real quick. You just pull them off like so. Which maybe some of you might not want to because you want to resell this or something like that. But he looks amazing too. I mean, just look at his boots. His boots look fantastic. There's a little bit of black wash in the boots. He doesn't get the furry underwear like He-Man. He gets the additional, so you can just have him in a traditional way with the furry tunic underwear, and then he also has this Roman sort of look as well. So you have the option of taking that on or off. His chest harness as well. It has a nice wash on it. His helmet, or his the cloak on his skull is nice and textured. So there's a lot of texturing in here. He has the big giant chest. There's shading in the blues. You can see the different blues, so he looks beautiful. He has all the similar articulation. He does have the horizontal hinges, which is a bummer. So you can't get that nice weapons holding pose as opposed to He-Man with the vertical hinges. I just prefer that. His mouth is open. He's cackling and looking nefarious as Skeletor normally would. There's red in the eyes instead of it just being all black. There's a paint smudge right by the nostril, the nasal opening here. So you get that. But he looks great also. And let us pull out the dark half of the power sword, which is this beautiful purple. Looks great. It's die cast. Wonderful. I always loved how they gave you the two halves of the power sword, and I loved how in Revelations they used that as a plot device. So I always thought that was really cool how they did that. And so you get the nice die-cast sword, all the same articulation. I just wanted to go over more of what he looks like painting-wise. And let's pull out the Havoc staff, because this is becoming a long video. And the Havoc staff, okay, so this is a little trick. I thought that the Havoc staff would be completely die-cast, but it's not. It is plastic, and then the skull part is die-cast, but everything else on the Havoc staff is plastic. So it's a really nice looking Havoc staff. This is a comparison between Ultimate Skeletor from Masters of the Universe Classics Super 7 line. This one's way more detailed. It's shorter. The new one is shorter in the 40th anniversary. And it has a unique look as well. I think I like the Classics version better, but that's okay. And open this hand and put the, see if I can get the Havoc staff in his hand, because it's a nice hard plastic. And then we have that, and you can also use the Havoc staff to balance him as well. The 40th anniversary Skeletor does not come with a cape. He's more indicative of the comic book version in these mini comics, which you see here. What else do we get? We get another set of hands, and let's check those out. So you get a fisted hand, which I just think is a waste. So you get one fisted hand, and what else do we get? If I can dig it out, probably gonna pull this whole thing down. It's like really in this foam here. Okay, you get an open hand. So you get a big open hand if you want. So kind of a waste in the additional hands. I wish they would have given the vertical hinge hand instead. Would have been my preference. But he looks, just to get a look from behind, he has his purple power sword. I loved how, like I said, I like how the Ultimate Skeletor, you get the two halves of the power sword that come together. So that would have been cool if they could have done that with the die cast, but I'm not going to complain because I have the Ultimates version and he looks awesome too. And he also comes with the Keldor head. So that's pretty cool. And just a comparison of the faces, yeah, I love this new Skeletor face. It looks really good. This one looks like a poor Halloween mask sort of version, but it does look just like this mini comic. So Skeletor looks pretty awesome as well. Anything else to say about these figures? I would just highly recommend this if you have the chance to get it at a good price. I paid around $90, $90 to $100 with shipping. This is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. I'm sure it's going to be marked up like crazy online. Last thing that I missed is the ring. So you get a nice decoder ring sort of thing with it as well, which is fun. But, oh yeah, this ring is actually metal. So this is metal, and this thing is super heavy. Wow, that's really heavy. Yeah, it's metal. Oh, it opens up. And inside you have the 40th anniversary. And you get the glowing eyes. Let's see if I can... Yeah, you can sort of make them glow. So that's pretty cool. And you just get that ring if you want that too. It might fit on my pinky. Punch somebody in the face with this, you might really hurt them, so I don't recommend that. But anyhow, amazing. You get that nice ring too. So awesome figures. If you can get them, get them. If you can get them cheap, I hope you can. I was fortunate to get in on it early, right away, before it sold out. Highly recommend these figures, especially if you are an action figure collector and you are a fan of He-Man, which I certainly am. So if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and God bless you all. Peace.